Call the meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Taylor? Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mrs. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. The next item will be the moment of silence by our Board Vice President, Mr. Jerry Denton.
As we begin this meeting, let us pause for a 60-second moment of silence to reflect, meditate, pray, or engage in other silent activity. Thank you.
Next item will be our Pledge of Allegiance, be led by Marshall Bowser, a fifth grader at Rosewood Elementary. Is Marshall up there? Okay, I saw him standing early.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Marshall, thank you. Mr. Perry's got some really difficult questions for you this evening.
Right.
How exciting.
Glad you joined us tonight. Tell us about, I always want to hear what your favorite subject is in school and why.
My favorite subject is math, mainly because my mom is my teacher.
Oh. So you know where to go for help. That makes sense. I like it. What do you like to do outside of school?
I like to play football, do all kinds of different sports and stuff like that.
Awesome. Awesome. Looking forward to middle school next year?
Yes.
It'll be fun. Good things happening. Why don't you introduce your mom and dad and your brother? Is he here too?
Yes, they are all here somewhere.
You want to introduce them?
My mom is Amanda Francine Bowser. My brother is Graham Ashton Bowser. And my dad is Ashley Guy Bowser.
All right.
We're so glad you gave us that information. You have a good evening. Would you mind if I got a picture with you?
Yeah, I don't mind.
We're going to go right up
Right
front.
around here.
Is that your employee badge, Marshall, already?
Come on, Dad.
Ashley Guy Bowser, get in.
To the Bowsers, I think y'all were set up on that deal. You did a great job. Next item will be the swearing in of our new elected official, Mr. John Cockrell.
Okay. Raise your right hand. I, John Cockrell.
I, John.
Oh, go ahead. We're going to get on a rhythm. Okay, I, John Cockrell, hereby declare,
I, John Cockrell, hereby declare,
under oath, that I will faithfully perform
under oath that I will faithfully perform
the duties of a member of the Board of Education
the duties of a member of the Board of Education
of Broken Arrow Public
of
Schools,
Broken Arrow Public Schools,
number 1003
number 1003
of Tulsa County, Oklahoma,
of Tulsa County, Oklahoma,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
and that I will faithfully discharge all of my duties
and that I will faithfully discharge all of my duties
pertaining to said office and obey the Constitution and the laws of the United States and Oklahoma.
pertaining to the said office and obey the Constitution and laws of the United States of Oklahoma.
Okay. There's our loyalty oath. I, John Cockrell, do solemnly swear
I, John Cockrell, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution and the laws of Oklahoma,
I will support the Constitution and the laws of Oklahoma,
and that I will faithfully discharge, according to the best of my ability,
and that I will faithfully discharge, according to the best of my ability,
the duties of my office during such times
the duties of my office during such times
as I am a member of the Broken Arrow Public Schools Board of Education.
as I am a member of the Broken Arrow Public Schools Board of Education.
Congratulations, Mr. Cockrell.
Thank you.
Okay, next item. By statute, we found, Ms. Brown, that we must reorganize the board after a newly elected official. So,
Well, I know right now, Mr. Allen, we have you as the president, and with myself, I don't really desire to kind of step up into that role, and with the work schedule that I currently have, I'd rather leave you in that role as well. And so, Brandy, you've done a superior job being the clerk, so. So I would propose that maybe we leave it as it is for the remainder, leaving Mr. Allen in the president seat, and I would still be very willing to hold the vice president seat.
Is that a motion?
Well, I'm just, if there's any discussion, okay?
I will do whatever you all
Okay.
would like me to do. It's an honor and privilege to serve the board in this capacity, and we've worked very well together since I've been on the board, and it's just an honor and privilege, and I'll do what I can to help this board, help this district be better.
Well, then I will make a motion that we leave the organization of the board as it stands today.
Do you want to state those positions just so it's on the record?
Okay, the position is Mr. Steve Allen as the president of the board, Jerry Denton as the vice president of the board, Brandy Relay as the board clerk. Sorry, I know I messed it up. And then John as the deputy board clerk. So,
And then,
Debbie Taylor as a member.
I second that.
got a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. I want to thank you all for just giving that confidence in me. So I appreciate that. Thank
You've
you.
done a great job at it. And I
Thank
think
you.
we've got a great team that works together and collectively and collaboratively with the administration as well. And so look forward to a few more years.
Well, thank you. Me too. It's an honor. Okay, next item will be approval of the regular board meeting minutes from February the 6th. Any discussion?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item will be approval of the special board meeting minutes of February the 15th, and I believe that was from the bond sale.
Yes.
Discussion?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Okay, next item, Ms. Peterson.
Good evening, President Allen, Mr. Perry, members of the board. I come to you tonight presenting on behalf of both Ms. James and myself. And so we're excited because we know we've got some great teachers in Broken Arrow. And so I get the distinct honor of getting to recognize two of those teachers. So the Oklahoma Council of Social Studies recognizes teachers for their exceptional passion for teaching, especially in the area of social studies. And so they were nominated, and then they voted on who would be recognized. And so Miss Tracy Ferris from Aspen Creek is one of our teachers that displays, well, she's a great teacher anyway, whether we're talking about social studies. But she is being specifically recognized tonight. So Tracy, if you'll come on down. And then also Ruth Biggs of Centennial Middle School, if Ruth is here. And I also have to say, Ruth was also recognized as a Regional History Day. She got the Regional History Day Teachers Award as well. And so we just want to recognize her tonight.
Ms. Pearson, can you say Ruth's last name, because it kind of got drowned out, just so everybody
I'm sorry,
understand
Ruth
or hears?
Biggs, and
Ms.
from
Ruth Biggs.
Centennial.
All right.
So we just want to thank you all so much for your passion and your hard work and everything that you do for our students every day. It means a great deal. So thank you every day for what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To Ms. Ferris and Ms. Biggs, on the behalf of the board, we want to thank you as well and let you know that we appreciate your dedication to the students of Broken Arrow. Your job's harder than it's ever been. And to have the excellence that you do, it's much appreciated, and hope you'll continue that effort. Thank you. Next item, Ms. Barber, good to see you.
Yes, good to see you all, President Allen and Mr. Perry, members of the board. It's an honor tonight to be able to celebrate 2 items with you this evening. We are going to be celebrating our U.S. Presidential Scholar candidates in addition to our National Merit finalists tonight. So we want to recognize that it takes a village. And so parents and guardians in the room of our U.S. Presidential Scholar candidates and National Merit finalists, would you stand up just for a moment so we can applaud you and everything that you've done? And then I brought 2 phenomenal educators with me this evening. Gina Giddens is our college and career counselor. She just started this year. What a phenomenal person she is. She's just all about getting those opportunities in front of our students for post-secondary plans, scholarships, FAFSA. So she's going to be presenting our U.S. Presidential Scholar candidates this evening. And then Mr. Bailey, our AP statistics teacher at the high school, will be presenting our National Merit finalists tonight. Thank you.
Good evening. It's an honor to introduce our 2 candidates for U.S. Presidential Scholar this year. But before I do, I wanted to explain what this recognition means. The U.S. Presidential Scholars Program was established in 1964 by executive order of the President to recognize and honor some of our nation's most distinguished graduating high school seniors. Each year, up to 161 students are named as Presidential Scholars, one of the nation's highest honors for high school students. Students are invited to apply for this award and have to have scored exceptionally well on either the SAT or the ACT. The names of the semifinalists will be posted in mid-April. The names of the 2023 U.S. Presidential Scholars will be posted in early May and recognized in June. Our 2 students who are candidates for the U.S. Presidential Scholars Program are Sydney Bennett and Emily Fisher. So if you both would.
Oh, you guys get to speak.
Okay, sorry.
I didn't know that.
So Emily Fisher is a student at Early College High School, and Sydney Bennett is a student at Broken Arrow High School. And just so you know, they are also National Merit finalists. So it's phenomenal. So we'll bring them up to the mic. I know the board and Mr. Perry might have some questions for you all this evening.
Congratulations. Can you
Thank
tell
you.
us a little bit about your plans and how your year's going?
The year's going really well. I like senior year. I like all my classes and all my teachers. After high school, I want to go to OU. I think I want a dual degree in biochemistry and neuroscience and end up in the medical field one day.
What are some of the most challenging classes that you've taken at Broken Arrow?
I think my most challenging class right now is AP Calculus BC. It's just really fast-paced. The teacher's really good, and I really enjoy everything we're learning, but sometimes it's like if you miss one day, you're really behind.
Yeah.
So
We are very proud of you
thank you.
for what you've done.
Do you have any special guests with you this evening?
I'm here with Tanya Silver.
Awesome, congratulations.
Thank you.
Can you tell us about your future plans?
Well, similar to Sydney, I want to get a biochemistry degree from OU, most likely, and then I would like to move on to medical school and eventually be a pathologist.
And what kind of sparked your interest in that?
Well, just a lot of career research. I really love life sciences like biology and things like that. And so I wanted to be a doctor, but I don't really want to deal with like the blood and the gore and stuff.
I thought you were going to say patients.
That too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's,
when you're a pathologist, they just send you this stuff. You don't
Yeah,
have to
that's
get
right.
it, and you don't have to deal with the people.
Can you tell us about, because we had a traditional, maybe called traditional high school student. Tell us about your college high experience.
Well, I have really enjoyed my dual credit experience. I take college classes at NSU for most of the day, and then I come back to the high school for a single elective. And I have enjoyed it a lot. They're very, very challenging classes, and it's really interesting to see how each professor teaches differently and how it can like make or break the class for you.
Yeah, sure
it's really
can.
good.
So if you had to do over again, would you do it again?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, good.
Definitely.
Good to hear.
Do you want to introduce guests?
That over there is my mom and my dad and my little brother Killian.
Good evening, President Allen, Mr. Perry, and members of the board. I'm here today to introduce the 2023 National Merit Finalists from Broken Arrow High School. But before I do that, I want to speak a little bit about these 4 students. 2 of them you've already met. You see, I've had a front row seat to each one of these 4 students. 3 of them I have in my 6th hour AP Stats class, all in 1 hour. Not a bad problem to have. And then the other one, Emily, is an officer for the National Honor Society, for which I'm a sponsor. And so I know we're here today to honor them for their academic achievements, and we should. But I want to speak to something that I feel is much more important. Each one of these students not only excels academically, but they excel in areas of integrity, of character, compassion. They absolutely excel in perseverance and empathy. And I believe those qualities are just as important as their academic prowess. As teachers, we're often told, your students are always watching you. Well, I can assure the 4 of you, we are always watching you as well. And what I see from the 4 of you is exactly what I think we would want a Broken Arrow graduate to be. If I had to paint a portrait of what a Broken Arrow graduate would look like, they would look eerily similar to the 4 of these students. And so I'm proud to associate myself with these 4 each and every day. I know they're going to represent Broken Arrow Public Schools extremely well as they leave us and they begin their journey into adulthood. And so I want to introduce the 2023 Broken Arrow Public Schools National Merit Finalists. First, you've already met Miss Sydney Bennett. Miss Emily Fisher. Mr. Tanner Silver. And Miss Jenny Vo. Tanner, you get to talk first.
All right, welcome, congratulations.
Thank you.
We are looking forward to hear about what your future plans are. I know you shared them with us a couple months ago, but
They've changed.
Yeah, that's part of it.
They're very similar. I'm also going to go to OU, and I want to pursue biochemistry major, and then I would also like to become a pathologist eventually. So.
Wow, making Broken Arrow look good. What kind of sparked your interest, or when did you kind of feel you had a knack for this and you were pretty strong academically?
I don't know. With ACT and SAT, like standardized testing specifically, that just kind of came up whenever I took the PSAT, and it was kind of by chance because I went to the summer SAT prep class with Mrs. Lewis and a couple of other teachers. Miss Taylor is actually one of them as well. And I kind of I didn't realize that I was good at them, I guess, because it didn't ever feel like you're good at them. You never leave a test and you feel good about it. And so, but then whenever I realized that I was doing better, then I was like, oh, this is actually a huge deal. And that was kind of something that I didn't realize before, is that these tests are huge to colleges and future, basically. And so once I realized how much it could mean for the future, I realized that it was something that I wanted to pursue and study more.
That's great. That's great. Proud of you. Good job. Do you want to introduce your guest?
Tanya Silver, over there. It's my mom.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. We're very proud. Have your plans changed? Are you still on this same track as you were?
Yeah, pretty much.
You going to tell us about them?
I think I'll be going to TU next year to study biology, also on the pre-med track.
Awesome. Can you tell us about what area, like doctor-wise, physician, or do you not like blood, or how?
I'm a little undecided on whether I prefer patients more or researching in the lab, but I'm just really interested in a fulfilling career, and I think it is really humbling to commit yourself to serving others.
Man, Bailey, you're right. Character. Well, we thank you for all you've done. We'll let you introduce your guest too.
I'm here with my mom, Fung, and my little sister, Jacqueline.
Go ahead.
Do you want to get a picture? Everybody?
Congratulations, you all. It's like we know y'all. We see you.
I know.
Every couple of months. It's great. Great job. Good luck. The two teachers.
I forgot to get a picture with you. Ms. Biggs told me how much she loved being installed.
Not so fast. Thank you all. Okay, next item, Ms. Snyder.
Thank you, Mr. Perry, President Allen, and members of the board. It's an honor to be here today to recognize 2 exceptional spirit programs. I'd like to bring up our head coaches for varsity cheer and varsity Tigets. If you guys can join me real quick. You can come stand by me. Kirsten Blood Delahanty, she is the head coach of our cheer program. Megan Warren is the head coach of the Tiget program. This past fall, our cheerleaders competed at the OSSAA Class 6A Cheer State Championship and won a state title in the extremely competitive cheer division, excuse me. I want to say congratulations to all of our cheer athletes for your hard work, your dedication. for overcoming so many obstacles and just having the perseverance and passion. You guys showed that day so much grit, personality, and just so much gratitude. And I am so impressed by you all and the performance you gave that day. Congratulations. Also want to recognize that they had a team GPA of 3.5, which is pretty incredible. So we are so proud of you all. In just a moment, Coach Blood will introduce her staff and all of the student athletes. In December, the varsity Tigets won the Oklahoma State Dance Team Directors Association's 6A Kick State Championship title. It's an extremely difficult category to win, and all the Tigets, I hope you all know, we are so proud of you all. It's just an incredible performance that you all put on, and you guys show the heart, dedication, and team effort that it takes to win, and we are so proud of your accomplishments. Also want to recognize that the team's unweighted GPA this year was 3.73. 5 of our student athletes have a 4.0 and still going strong. And then 11 of 14 of our Tiget members are in AP college courses. So it just shows you that they are student athletes. And for all of our cheerleaders and Tigets, just take a moment and soak this all up, because we are here for you and we are so proud of you. And it's incredible to win a state championship, and both of these teams have won several over the years. So congratulations to all of you. Last but not least, I want to thank personally all the parents of the cheerleaders and the Tigets. They go above and beyond for these student athletes. They are just the first ones that are willing to help. They support, they drive, they bring items, they pick up whatever is needed, decorate, and we could not do it without the incredible support of our parents. So thank you, parents who are here tonight, parents who couldn't be here. Just want to thank everybody. And again, congratulations, Coach Blood, Coach Warren, and Tiget members and varsity cheerleaders.
I just wanted to, hello. I just wanted to say thank you for supporting cheer like it is an athletic program, because a lot of schools don't do that, and I think we're super lucky that we get to be in this situation where we are supported like anyone else. This group of kids worked really, really hard. They were the seniors this year, my first group of freshmen that I had when I became the head coach, and we came in second a lot of times, so it was really, really exciting and a really big accomplishment for them to win this year. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce them to you. First, we have Bradley Warwick, Chloe Young, Natalie Morgan, Anna Woodstock, Cami Murray, Julia Bibb, Alex Frederick,
You're gonna have a lot of you.
Yasmin Macklin, Trey Wilcher, Micah Stone, DQ Matthews, Caitlin Pickett, Kaylee Duffy, Ava Connor, Hannah Stanley, Kinsey Bowers, Lainey Phillips, Kelsey Hargis, Delaney Jackson, Gentry Price, Riley Ann Hopp, Presley Blaylock, Reese Murphy, Mia Nanita, Kinley Reddital, Riley Gellner, JJ Youngblood, Vinaya Huey, and Ashlyn Schreiber.
Great job. Good job. Grab a cookie on the way out. Miss Snyder, did you call her Coach Blood? Okay.
But everybody calls her Coach Blood.
All right. Where'd Coach Blood go?
Out the door.
I think
snuck out.
How many kids do they have in their program?
Over 30.
Wow.
31 on varsity right now.
That's great.
There she is.
Oh, there she is.
Coach, how many kids you have in your program?
In our program, from junior high to high school, we have like 95.
Oh, wow.
That's impressive.
On varsity, 30. On varsity, we have 33. We've added a couple guys, so 33, 35.
What a great opportunity for kids here at BA. Great job. Great job.
Nice job.
Thank you so much for having us tonight and getting to celebrate this win. This was an amazing team to work with this year. This is our second state title for Tigets, and so we're super proud of it. These girls put in a lot of hard work and energy, as you can see, not only in Tigets but into their schoolwork too. And we're so thankful that you all support us the way you do and for celebrating with us tonight. So thank you for having us. This is Coach Smith. She helps. She's my assistant varsity coach and a huge help with everything. And so we're going to take a moment and recognize our girls. Our first senior is Danny Davis. Danny was all-state and placed third with her solo at state this year.
Great job.
Next we have Avery and Heidi. They were all region. We have Miss Maya and JC. Next we have Lily, Addison, Aubrey, Jaden, Avery, Tatum, Olivia, Avery, and Audrey.
Coach, did they practice this right here? Their little pose? Great job.
They're always photo ready.
Hey, Coach Warren, real quick. The state championship's impressive, but that 3.73.
That's their unweighted.
Unweighted.
Unweighted
Yeah.
GPAs. They actually won honorable mention for OSSA for
Academics.
academics, and also at our state as well.
That's so outstanding. Great job. Coach, great job. Great job, ladies.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Ladies. Way to go.
Okay, next item on the agenda will be item number 13, will be comments from the public. And just before we get started, looks like we have two speakers, Amber Hamilton and Carl, is it McKittrick? Is that correct? Okay, thank you. They'll have 5 minutes to speak to the agenda item that they're addressing this evening. The board will hold any questions to the end, so we'll give them their allotted time of 5 minutes. And Mr. Denton will keep time, and he will just say time when the time is up. So you all are aware, so.
And there's a timer.
Is it up there?
displayed.
Okay, never mind. We got some new technology, I apologize. So Ms. Hamilton, please, you're up.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. My name is Amber Hamilton, and I'm here to discuss the rezoning of our neighborhood, Washington Lanes. On Wednesday, February 22nd, the parents of 81 kids in Washington Lanes received a letter stating that their children were to be included in a rezoning plan that would move the students from Rosewood to Vandiver Elementary. Nowhere in this email did it state that this was not a final decision. It did refer the parents to a meeting to be held on Monday, February 27th. I attended the meeting, which included a slideshow that spoke about the rezoning map, teachers at Vandiver, and the events held there. In regards to the rezoning map, they told us the move is being caused by new developments and bus route considerations, even though they just rezoned these kids in this neighborhood for the 2020 school year. Also, that we should look for additional rezoning over the next 2 to 3 years. In this meeting, I directly asked the cabinet members in attendance what rights the parents had in this rezoning process and if there was anything we could do about it. The only option that we were extended was to individually apply for each child to attend, and it would be considered on a case-by-case basis. We were never made aware that the decision was not finalized, nor that we could attend this meeting to have our voices heard. It was not until the media got involved that we were provided with that information. Based upon this being the only information we were given, several parents wanted to speak up, but because they feared that their voice could directly affect whether or not their child would be allowed to attend Rosewood, opted not to. Rather than operating with transparency and giving us our options, it very much came across as the cabinet making parents believed they had none and this was the final say. Through extensive research, I found no information on what the school's process was for rezoning. I was informed by Mr. Perry today that wider zoning typically involves parents. However, because this was a smaller zoning area, the parents were not involved. He also informed me that BA students have been rezoned at least 6 to 7 times in the last 10 years. Is there any policy governing document or guidelines at all regarding rezoning and how many times the school can do this? I reached out to the State Board of Education, who in turn reached out to Mr. Perry, and I have an email here stating, in fact, there is no policy. This poses a very large issue and leaves the stability of all Broken Arrow students at risk. Washington Lane's community over the last 10 years has been asked to move at least 2 times, though I've yet to be able to get a clear answer on how many exactly. If the rezoning is due to and includes areas of undeveloped communities, why is the obvious answer not to rezone there rather than removing attending students, as there are no current kids affected and transparency remains for the potential homeowners moving in? They know exactly where their school district is at the beginning, as opposed to current homeowners who potentially could have purchased specifically for this school. This should be a no-brainer. Are there currently any developer incentive programs being offered? These are things that we're trying to understand. It was also brought to our attention at the meeting by a cabinet member that Rosewood budgeted and was provided finances through the $370 million bond package for another pod that would have accommodated at least another 100 students. They began a hallway referred to as the Red Hallway and had to stop completion due to, quote, running out of money. It appears that if a pod had been completed as planned, we wouldn't be compromising the stability of our children. It seems incredibly unfair to make our children pay for the improper planning of budgeters and builders. It's the very core duty of the members of this board to look out for what is the best decision regarding the students being affected. It's also an obligation to keep the parents informed and involved in major decisions involving our kids. Being that there are still openings at Rosewood and that these children are already attending, I move that the 81 children currently established remain at Rosewood and that the rezoning is restructured to include the undeveloped properties where no children currently reside. I also respectfully request that we're exempt from any further rezoning plans due to the fact that we've already accommodated these kinds of changes on multiple occasions and feel at this time the stability of the children has been uprooted more than any school should ever ask. I also propose that a policy is put into place which includes the opinions of the community, rules on the amount of times a zone can be moved, and clear instructions on parental rights in the event of such. With growth booming in Broken Arrow, it seems this kind of policy is an absolute necessity. Thank you so much for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Yeah, any board have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. McKittrick.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board, thank you for hearing us. Amber, thank you. That was wonderful. I'm here as a concerned parent. I'm speaking on behalf of 2 of my children that are in the district. One in 3rd grade who will be affected by the rezoning should it happen. Another one is moving into Childers, which, as I understand, could be affected next year. As another parent, I want to make it plain that Broken Arrow is a great city. We love it here. We love the school district. It's a fabulous school district. However, as many other families do, when we decide to move, we look at the school districts. We look at the individual school that we might send our children to, and we make that financial decision, that investment based on where our children should go. We shouldn't have to look over our shoulder and wonder, is there a rezone coming? And are we going to end up in a school that we decided not to put our kids in because of consistent rezoning? We shouldn't have that fear. No family should. Kids are resilient. And I think sometimes we can take that for granted when making decisions as adults, right? However, stability is important. As a dad of 5 kids, I work hard to make sure my kids feel stable and that they have a foundation. I can drive by my elementary school and say, that's the elementary school that dad went to, right? Not, I went to that elementary school, and then 2 years later, I went to that elementary school. And then a year after that, I had to change again and to go to that elementary school. While it may be in the same district, it's still a new school. While you may be moving a whole neighborhood, you can't assume that these children still feel stable, right? My youngest has 1 friend in our neighborhood. The rest of his friends he made at school. Myself and my wife invested time into getting to know the parents of those kids, right? And so you're asking us to start that process over again, and then potentially again. Stability is real. The effect of these rezoning on the stability of these children and our families is real. And I hope that you really, really consider that. Because moving a neighborhood doesn't move the stability. You're taking the foundation away that families, parents are trying to establish for their children. So I hope you consider that when you vote today. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank both of you for taking the time to come here and address the board. We appreciate that. Thank you. Next item, number 14, will be Ms. Powell and Mr. Bowser.
Good evening, President Allen, Mr. Perry, and members of the board. I come to you this evening with a proposed boundary change impacting 81 students in the Washington Lane neighborhood and Rosewood Elementary. The map on the screens gives you a visual representation of this boundary. The physical description is your west boundary is Lynn Lane, your east boundary is County Line, your north boundary is 91st Street, and your south boundary is 96th Street. As you are aware, each year, BAPS is gaining approximately 500 students, and with that growth comes challenges. As stated in Board Policy 4170, boundaries for various schools may be readjusted from year to year in order to meet class size requirements. This proposed boundary change is one of those needed adjustments. Rosewood Elementary is currently at 638 students and has a maximum capacity of 667. This school is 30 students away from being over capacity. Rosewood shares a boundary with Vandiver Elementary. Residing within its boundaries, Vandiver currently has an enrollment of 395 students with room to accommodate for the growth that Rosewood is experiencing. This boundary change will ensure an equitable educational experience for all children. A parent forum was held on Monday, February 27th. This forum was held in an effort to consult with Rosewood families. Accommodations made as a result of that meeting and concerns that were expressed by those parents, our team has committed to allowing the current 4th graders to complete their 5th grade year at Rosewood. This inclusion also encompasses their siblings. In addition, the current 3rd grade students who were moved in the previous boundary change will also be allowed to continue at Rosewood. We have communicated with our transportation department and before and after care team. There will be transportation for these students who are transitioning from Rosewood to Vandiver. Also, provided that the impacted BNA families follow the normal enrollment procedure, all of those students that are in BNA at Rosewood will be absorbed into the Vandiver before and after care program. In looking toward the future, we believe we need to make a commitment to these Washington Lane students and families to not move them again for subsequent redistricting plans. Change is rarely easy, but we know that students learn better when class sizes are manageable, and that is why we are recommending this change at this time. Thank you.
We have for discussion. I do have a question. So tell me, because it was stated by a speaker earlier, why wouldn't we just move, or why was the decision not made just to move the new construction of neighborhoods to the new redistricting?
That's a fair question, and there's a couple of reasons why. One is the capacity of Rosewood now, as presented by Ms. Powell, 639, students, max capacity of 667. So even if we didn't have new development in the Rosewood area, we would be concerned that we only have 4% capacity as a school. So that would be a consideration. The second thing is that we know that these new neighborhoods right here that are represented by the map, they don't all come online at the same time. Right? It's not like a whole new neighborhood opens up with 200 houses simultaneously, and all those houses have families or whatever. They come in drips and drabs. And the third thing is really logistics. At its core, if you assign these new neighborhoods that are spread throughout Rosewood, there are 11 current developments in the Rosewood boundaries currently. And so of those 11 current developments, if you look at development all over Broken Arrow, that means that 20% of the new homes are being built in the Rosewood boundary today. 20% of the planned and current development of homes that are being planned all throughout our district are happening in the Rosewood boundary. And so the issue with that is that would create essentially holes within the boundary. You would take this neighborhood or this neighborhood and send it to another school. That creates transportation logistics or issues being able to transport those kids. You look at adjacent schools. The one on the far right would be adjacent. The closest boundary would be like Highland Park, for example, which is another school that has a lot of kiddos. So what we did was we took a detailed look at all the possible options. How could we make adjustments to be able to improve the capacity of Rosewood, but minimize the impact on our families? We know that movement is, we know it's hard. And the reality is, here's the unique part about Rosewood. If you think about it, it's a 3-year-old school, which means that every family that's in it was moved there 3 years ago. So any family we move is in this same boat. It doesn't matter if we chose a different neighborhood or a different part of that boundary. All of those families are subject to that same thing. And so when we look at capacity and proximity, the capacity of Vandiver and the proximity of this neighborhood made the most sense to be able to make that adjustment.
What's the capacity of Vandiver currently?
They currently have an enrollment of 395 students.
And their current capacity is 612.
612.
Thank you.
So how many will actually be going to Vandiver? Is it the 81?
It's around 67, 65, once you take out those current 4th graders moving into 5th grade, and then you take into consideration the siblings and then the 3rd graders who were moved. There were 6 3rd graders and 5 of them were moved previously, so we would.
I didn't hear you say that earlier. So if you have siblings,
yes,
pre-4th grade, they get to stay together?
What's the from where this is at, transportation to Rosewood, what's the amount of bus time compared to what it would be to Vandiver estimated? Is there a big difference?
I do not have times on transportation. We just wanted to have a commitment that we would have transportation available for them, but we had not discussed logistics.
It's 1.8 miles either way. It's 1.9 to Vandiver from Washington Lanes and 1.8.
It looked pretty close on the map, so that probably shouldn't be much of a change.
I was going to see if we could answer the question about why the other pod wasn't built or why the red hall doesn't lead to anything. Can you guys talk about that, or is that something that maybe now?
I was on construction subcommittee when that happened. The previous person in charge, or when that was being designed, it went over budget, and they didn't have enough money as growing costs were increasing at that time to complete that one pod during that project. That's from my recollection of those committee meetings that we'd have, and I'm sure the faculty could probably, or the staff could.
That's my understanding as well, Mr. Allen, is that the dollars allocated for the Rosewood project, that pod was an alternate that they had hoped to be able to build, but didn't have the dollars available to be able to build that. So,
Ms. Enoff?
And I can also tell you that the original budget that was allocated for that project in 2019, it actually went over budget beyond that, and the district had to use building and other general obligation bonds to complete the final project of that, because it was running so far over budget at the time, about $400,000.
And would we say that part of the reason or rationale that it was over budget was the inflation of the cost of materials that were involved in that? Was it, do we have any kind of, do we recall kind of the root cause of that? I don't, and so I was trying to remember if it was cost of materials or whatever that kind of caused that, or cost of labor. I just can't recall.
Well, it was an alternate for the original project, so when they bid those projects, they bid the whole project as by itself, then the alternates with it, and if able to afford it at the time, you'll add what alternates you can, if I remember correctly, to complete or add to that project.
Gotcha.
So, and that pod was, an additional pod was one of those alternates for that.
This is gonna happen again pretty quickly, because that area out there is unreal how much development's going on.
And right now, I know some of the discussion that we've had among administration ourselves, what is our square footage of our, or the square mileage of our district that's not developed at this point in time? I know it keeps reducing, because I know out in Wagner County, we continue to see development. Is it 100?
We have 128 square miles,
Okay.
roughly in the district, which includes, boundaries outside the city of Broken Arrow.
Right.
In addition to that, there is still about, the latest numbers I heard from the city, about 50% still that's undeveloped.
yeah. So it's a huge, because of that 50%, it's a huge challenge to try and predict where the development is, or how quickly it's going to move. We even know about the number of planned neighborhoods, but the reality is that sometimes those planned neighborhoods, they can be planned for a long time before they ever come online, and so we can make adjustments based on the idea that these planned neighborhoods are going to come online, and then other neighborhoods build up faster, and then we have to make adjustments to the adjustments. It's just it is a moving target. One of the things that I wanted to share with you is that in the past 11 years, we've had to make adjustments to boundaries approximately 6 times. A lot of that is because we open new buildings, right? Anytime we open a new elementary like Highland Park or Aspen Creek or Timber Ridge or Rosewood, like we adjust boundaries.
Sure.
That's there, but sometimes it's because of growth, and we see this kind of situation happening in a school, and we have to make those adjustments as a result of that.
Now back when my son was in elementary school, I was on a committee of parents, and it was on with we all came up with a map, and I don't remember what it was called. Long range planning committee. Is it normal, I guess, on a small move like this? Not to involve
on a
parents?
smaller move, we're when we're looking at a very, this impacts, and it doesn't minimize the importance to those families, right? It impacts a neighborhood that is obviously very important to them, and it's very important to our community and the school that they attend and all those kinds of things. But in reality, when we do those long-range plans, those long-range planning committee, it's typically because we're moving kids from all around the district and doing a large or wholesale kind of redistricting. And so that's and we, Dr. Dias and I, have talked about in the future as we continue to reevaluate growth and looking at our plans and where the bond issue is leading us in the future. That's something we're going to have to do. We're going to have to consider a large scale assessment of our boundaries to figure out what works best for the schools and how they can best meet the family's needs.
Mr. Bowser, on those long-range planning committees that we had in the district though, but those were tied to new construction of new elementaries.
Yes.
Is when those committees were formed and had, not necessarily the moving of.
Yes.
Because
we have made other adjustments without a long-range planning committee that were not a result of new construction. You're absolutely right. The tie-in there is typically with new construction because it impacts, you're pulling kids from multiple schools into a new school. That's why we involve those long-range planning committees.
Okay. Just to kind of reset my thinking, again, I to recall what you said, we wanted to have the least impact to the number of students. We're considering class size, travel time, and knowing that not making a decision is not an option, but keeping in mind trying those fundamental things. I know personally when my kids were in school, we went through a redistricting, and I came and talked, and here I am today. But I know it's difficult and tough to do, and especially when you see a change for one child versus another child in the same household is what we've experienced. But I do at least feel that from a district, every school is still a great school in our district. I know we drive for excellence, and I know that some schools, have things that attract other, certain families and stuff. But again, this is a great district, and every school out there is great in its own way, and each school has its own unique personality. You have to get to those. But I think fundamentally, kind of, as I said, resetting myself, using those foundational things to make the decisions. It's never easy, but we do consider the important factors. And so I appreciate the questions and being able to answer those as best you can, and so thank you.
Mr. Dent, to your point, I remember Dr. Dias telling us when we've done these in the past that, it's not the four walls, it's what's inside the four walls. And we are blessed in Broken Arrow to have really great schools that are within those four walls, and educators and leaders. And to Mr. McKendrick's point, I mean, the kids have seemed very resilient, and when we've had to make these difficult decisions, they've been happy, as uncomfortable as it may have been to begin or to start with or to initiate. But I feel confident knowing that we do have great schools no matter where it's at within the district, and the district's done a great job with our bond and to make equitable schools no matter where they're at in the district. So I think that's important as well. So any more conversation or questions about this?
I'll make a motion that we approve the redistricting.
I do have some more comments.
Okay.
That's fine.
Because I'm worried we're gonna do this again in the short term. I mean, would it not be better to look at it a little bit more and make one change that's gonna encompass, because there might have been some long-range plans, but there was nothing planned for that part of where the growth was gonna be, because that's county. That's not in the city limits of Broken Arrow, and it's not in the city limits of Coweta for most part.
Oh, I remember us having the
it's
infrastructure issues that we talked about going out there in the.
Yeah, because it's insane how much growth is going on out there. And I really hate to just make decision based off of a small group, and we're gonna be in here doing this again in the short term.
So, Mr. Cockrell, is it that you feel that maybe it needs to be a bigger piece to address that?
Yes.
Bigger piece of redistricting?
Because I don't think this is gonna fix anything other than just be a temporary
Short term.
solution.
So instead of doing 80, whatever the number is the district says, and we look at a plan.
Really
to-
look and see, get with Weiner County and see what they're actually allowing for the development. I mean, you go down there, I mean, they've redone the whole 121st Street. And I go by there almost every day, and, you know, I work out in that area. And the house growth is unreal, you know, and it's not, you know, I work for the fire department, it's not in our coverage area. That's Quita, and they can't handle it. They're having to build a new station out there because there's so much growth. And
So we're gonna ask, obviously, the motion would die without a second, and then we'll ask the district to address a larger number to give
to get a better
long
long-term.
term.
I don't think it's something that has to go a year.
Well, I mean, I think at some point you're gonna be at capacity if you don't do
Right.
something. I mean, is there a timeline that we would need to do something?
I mean, ideally, we just want to give families enough time to prepare for that change. You know, I don't know if this is possible or not, but one of the suggestions I would, if you want us to make a further change, then, I mean, this could be, you know,
Be larger scale.
yeah, I mean, we can definitely make it larger scale. We just have to look at capacities of elementaries that are adjacent. Could Vandenberg handle more kids? Or would they be better served at another elementary? We could look at those things. We could certainly move forward with this and then add on to, or we can bring it back to you as one, you know, one conglomerate, whichever you prefer.
But is there a date that you're like, we need to do something by May 1 to, you know, one, give families time, and then so
I
the
mean,
district.
ideally, we would bring it back at the next board meeting. I mean, that's at the April board meeting, to give our families enough time. It gives us a chance to collaborate with B&A Connections, because if it's more kids, then it could mean, you know, something that's a little bit more complicated as far as like how they provide resources at our sites. Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, ultimately, we can definitely do that. We can look at a larger swath if that's what you would prefer that we do, and make that change all at once. But my recommendation is that we would try to do that at the April board meeting to give our families, you know, the last 2 months to be able to, because one of the things that we have scheduled for this impacted neighborhood and these 81 students is that they have a essentially, Ms. Archer, what do you call it? Are you calling it like an open house or a?
Yeah, meet and greet. Basically, we've invited teachers to come and meet the families and give the families tours around the building and just kind of let them get a preview of what Vandenberg is and what we have to offer, and kind of help them to fall in love with Vandenberg.
Yeah. So we want to give notice to those families to be able to make plans to attend that. I mean, right now that's scheduled in April. So, you know, I'm just thinking about all the logistics off the top of my head to try to be able to.
I would definitely think we'd have to come back in April and make some decisions, because if we don't move anyone, we've got some serious issues we have to address at Rosewood, just safety and class sizes with their numbers. I mean, right now, I know we still have 3 months of school left, but we are doing a lot of planning for next school year already. We're in the hiring process, we're in the planning and design, so we would have to jump on this pretty quickly and take a look. And again, it may involve a lot more neighborhoods and students. So,
Do you know how many new developments are going up in the area?
So there are currently 11 developments that are planned or under construction in the Rosewood district right now. So you are correct. Like, well, is this a long-term solution? It's not a long-term solution. But our feeling is that we may need to look at a longer term solution globally around the district in the near term anyways. So we were trying to do as minimal of a move as we could to go, okay, we'll get us to next school year, and then let's really evaluate, like, where are we? Is this growth really continuing at the same pace, and is it bringing in the same number of kids? For example, what I didn't share earlier is that Rosewood has grown by over 100 students this year alone. So, that means it's 20% growth in that school this year alone. We don't have capacity for 100 more kids, and so will it continue at that rate? I mean, will development continue at the same rate? I mean, those are obviously unknowns, and so that's why we tried to make it as a smaller portion to be able to buy us a little more time to do a deeper dive. But if you want us to, evaluate a larger parcel of the district and be able to figure and analyze some options of where those kids could be best served, then we can certainly do that.
Well, to meet your growth, you're gonna have to move at least 186 to that growth number that's gonna go there, plus your proposed 86.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and if you go to a bigger swath, then maybe 486 or whatever the number may be.
Right.
So,
And I don't disagree that something's gonna have to change, but I'm with John on that. Moving these kids and then maybe next year moving, it just, like Mr. McKendrick said, stability is important to those kiddos. So I don't disagree that we need to make some changes, but I would like to see a little bit more long-term to where we don't turn around and do it again next year.
Fair enough.
well, and I appreciate what the effort of
Absolutely.
trying to impact as least amount of students as possible, because it's not easy if you impact one that way.
Right.
Someone's going to be upset that they have to move.
Absolutely.
And it's going to could be a disruption.
Well, I remember this, 3 years ago when we opened Rosewood? Nobody wanted to go there.
Nobody wanted to go to Rosewood.
Nobody wanted to
Right.
go
No one
there.
wants to leave it now.
Nobody wanted to
Right.
go. And that's
Right.
all we heard is, don't make my student go to Rosewood.
Right. Well, I'm not leaving Highland
I
Park,
know.
by God.
And so it's hard.
Yeah.
It's
I live out
hard.
there. I heard it all the time.
It's
having
hard,
dinner.
yeah. And so we definitely don't take it lightly.
Well, it's a testament to how great our schools are, right?
Totally agree.
Is everybody loves the school that they're in. They're passionate about their school, and that's a testament to the work that our teachers and building principals do each and every day to make those environments warm and welcoming for those families. So, it's not done flippantly or anything like that. And if that's what you would like us to do, then Ms. Powell and I will go back and visit with our team and take a look at some other recommendations to be able to make to you.
And I know that this, you probably don't know all the answers to this, but this just look kind of like over the past couple of years, how many homes were built in that area versus, because there's a bunch
Sure.
that are being built right now. I mean, it's obviously noticeable just driving around how much is being built. And,
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna have to do something.
We're probably going to need another boardroom to have all the parents that are gonna be mad at us when the swath you bring
Yeah.
back to move. But it's not easy.
Right.
It's not an easy decision. Someone has to be on the boundary somewhere on the edge that gets moved, because it was that way towards Highland Park.
Absolutely.
So, and it's not taken lightly, and it's a difficult decision.
Yeah.
And
And maybe just looking into what the future, because I know that we have, another, we have to address more of our bond with another elementary school or elementary school site, or adding on to elementary schools with
Right.
empty stuff. So if we could look maybe into the future too, on where we maybe plan to build a pod, if that's where the direction that we go, just look a little further
Absolutely.
out.
Absolutely. Sure.
I don't.
I am not opposed to parents being on it if we go with a larger group of students that will be moved. I'm not opposed to it. I don't know for sure yet. I mean, but obviously tonight, appreciate your all's input.
And I think that, and I'm not saying against parent involvement. I mean, we're all parents, we got involved. I mean, the parents are important, but the process that you're gonna go through is gonna be difficult, and if you're gonna have to expedite that to form a committee and have it done by April
Right.
1st.
It'll be a challenge with
and-
spring break around the corner, and I mean, yeah, there's some challenges for sure.
And it is different than having the committees we had in the past when we were building new schools. We've had those long-range planning committees on those, so
That's long, like it is a
Well,
it's a year process.
Well, a decision has to be made by the end of this year, quickly, to make the adjustments for next year.
And if you look at the map, historically, if some of our schools that were built back in the 60s and wherever, it's not like the schools are spread out, you know, perfectly across the city. It's a long north-south corridor.
Yeah, along Elm.
And, I mean, just going in the future too, you know, finding land and finding it for appropriate price too, to build schools is gonna be a challenge as we continue to grow.
How many homes do you know are being built in those 11 neighborhoods?
So, what our information tells us is 734 homes are currently planned, you know, either they're under construction today, or those plats have been approved, and that's the next phase, if that makes sense. Now, there may be some developments that have multiple phases, but until phase 1 is built, we don't really look at or consider phase 2 or 3, because it could be 5 years before phase 1 is done, or it could be just a couple, you know, and I think that's the challenge, right? And that's exactly what you all are speaking to, so.
There's a lot more growth, and I would assume, without actually looking at the data, there's more growth in housing development this year than there was the previous year, just simply because of COVID. So if we gained 100 kids in Rosewood last year, I think we'll surpass that this year, just with the growth that I see.
Yeah. It could, I mean, it very well could be, absolutely.
So with not getting a second, I think the next appropriate measure would be to table this and vote on tabling it and moving forward that way.
I need to make a motion to table it, or?
Yes.
Yes.
I make a motion to table item 14 to the April board meeting.
I'll second.
Got a motion to table item 14 and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item, Mr. Blackburn.
Good evening. This is for information purposes primarily. Wanted to let you know that the district calendar committee actually met twice and discussed and pushed a survey out to staff to come up with a calendar for the next, actually 2 years. This is something that's a little bit new for us, and trying to provide a little bit more stability in regards to our parents and expectations as far as the years coming ahead of us. Additionally, we had taken the information that we had learned before from surveying our parents, what they liked, didn't like, and including our staff, which really narrowed our focus. As you are aware, we're required to be in school 1,080 hours. What that really entails is 169 days for our staff in person, and then 5 additional PD days, which is 174 total days. As you look at the 2 calendars, you will see the goal here would be not only to develop the 2-day or 2-year calendar, but also to build in 5 snow days and develop a calendar that stays within the boundaries of what basically expectation of our staff and our parents. The biggest change that you probably will notice is that distant learning days have moved from Mondays to Fridays, and that's to give our parents some additional flexibility as we hear about their work days changing, and that's hopefully will be an advantage to them in regards to having a Monday at the first of the month and moving that to a Friday.
Mr. Blackburn, so with the snow built in 5 snow days, so that will be no distance learning and it's just 5 snow days on those days?
Well, we have those at the privy to use. I guess every situation is a little bit different in regards to how long we're out of school, but we definitely wanted to build in 5 that are straight snow days, and there will be no education per se taking place, other than mom and dad's going out and enjoying the snow day possibly with their kids.
So yes, that would be, we're gonna have a snow day.
We are going
Yes,
to have
sir.
snow days, and we'd use our 5 snow days before we'd get into distance learning if it was a district-wide. That would, exclude if there's a school that's had some flooding or something.
Sure. Okay.
I appreciate the move, the distance learning days to Fridays. I think because we have a lot of teacher absences on Fridays, I think that would work. I think it works a little better.
Okay.
I like that.
Any
Thank
other
you.
questions or concerns?
No.
Okay.
Thank you very
Appreciate that.
much.
Thank you.
Next item will be the general consent items 17 through 77. Any discussion?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes, thank you. Next item, Ms. Dias.
Good evening, Mr. Perry, Mr. Allen, and members of the board. Tonight I bring to you a motion to approve a new agreement with Trifera for our Chromebooks. It's that time of year where we start replacing those. So we are purchasing 3,300 Chromebooks for 7th grade students for our one-to-one initiative and for 5th grade students for our one-to-stay initiative. And the cost is let's see if I can say this number, $1,115,400. You know what I mean.
Yes, ma'am. It's right there.
And that's for your approval tonight.
Any questions?
No, I'm just kidding.
Don't ask me to say it again.
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes, next item, Mr. Bowser. Thank you, Ms. Dias.
All right, I'm back.
We won't beat you up this time. I'm sorry.
Hey, I am just glad that my son didn't give you my social security number earlier. So, the item before you tonight is just asking for your approval on an agreement from our vendor Two Trees to be able to purchase BenQ interactive display boards for Highland Park. Our smart boards around the district are an aging, antiquated device, and so this is one small step to be able to begin to replace some. My goal is hopefully over the summer we'll be able to target at least 3 to 4 more schools and begin the process of replacing those interactive smart boards with these BenQ interactive displays. So I'm asking for your approval tonight. The cool part is if you approve, our goal is actually to replace them over spring break. So so that when they come back after spring break, they'll have nice new instructional devices.
Okay. Mr. Bowser, one quick question. With the new BenQ boards, I know it may bring a little bit of a new technology. Do we have some kind of training that comes along with the
Absolutely, we already
purchasing
have
of
the
these?
training scheduled. This is the device that when we built Rosewood, we installed them there. When we built Vanguard, we installed them there, and then we have them various other places around the district as smart boards have died. The other cool part about this is that we will take the boards out of Highland Park and the projectors out of Highland Park that are still usable, good resources, and we'll deploy them other places in the district. So it's not as though we're, throwing all that stuff out. There's still some really good technology there that we'll be able to repurpose.
Perfect. That's a great answer.
Any more questions or discussion?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll. Thank you, Mr. Bowser.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item, Ms. Eniff.
Good evening, President Allen, Mr. Perry, members of the board. The first item for you tonight is to approve the application for temporary appropriations for the 23-24 school year. And upon approval tonight, it will be sent on to the County Excise Board to set our budget as of July 1, our new fiscal year. And this sets the legal limitation for our appropriated and bond funds. So we can continue operations when the new fiscal year hits.
Questions or discussion?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second.
Motion and a second, please call the roll.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item, Ms. Ina.
My next item is to ask the board to approve an increase in the child nutrition operating budget by $500,000. As we began this budget year, at the beginning of the year, I think we all knew the uncertainty around child nutrition, and Ms. McNally and Ms. Van Jackson have done a great job navigating that this year. This was the first year going back to paid lunches after a couple-year hiatus during the pandemic when the guidelines had changed regarding those free and reduced status. And so they have experienced record high inflation, especially with the cost of food and their daily supplies. And we feel like this budget increase will adequately get them through the end of the school year and into summer feeding as we continue to evaluate what their budget will look like for the 23-24 school year. They did begin this budget year with a significant amount of federal carryover dollars that we have carefully expended to kind of combat that inflation with the food and supply line items, and also balancing their personnel costs at the same time. And so they've done a tremendous job with that. But looking at the budget this year, we set it at initial $12 million, but we feel like this additional amount will be needed to finish out the school year. And then we will evaluate this summer what next year's budget will begin.
Ms. Ina, when was the last time we increased meal cost? The board approved an increase in the cost of lunch.
That was in 2019.
Yeah, it's been a long, yeah.
Is that something we need to consider as a board, to look at the cost and address that to match or get close to inflation?
I did increase it this year by 32% to account for that inflation.
Do the federal dollars that for free and reduced, have they increased their reimbursement?
They did, however, it doesn't match the 2 previous years because we got universal free, so we got free reimbursement on all meals.
Okay.
And Ms. McNally and her team did a phenomenal job of increasing our application response this year. It increased to now 46%, is that correct?
46% free and reduced.
When you say, when that 40% that's getting the free or reduced, say on the free, and they reimburse the district, but is that at a lower rate of reimburse the district versus what the actual cost would be? So if they're reimbursing you $3, but it actually costs us $4 to provide that meal?
No, it's a little higher than what the meal is.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
I make a motion that we approve?
I'll second.
Motion and second, please call the roll.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Allen, or Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item is new business. We have none. The next item will be moved to executive session and discuss employment contract with Mr. Perry and his evaluation.
Make a motion that we move to executive session?
I'll second.
Motion and second, please call the roll.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Thank you.
the contract with the superintendent of schools.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
The Board of Education, Mr. Chuck Perry, entered into the executive session at 7:28 p.m. to discuss the contract of the superintendent of schools, Mr. Chuck Perry, in accordance with the Oklahoma Statute Title 25, Section 307B1. We also discussed the evaluation of Mr. Chuck Perry as authorized by Title 25 OS, Section 307B1. The Board of Education returned to open session at 8:08 p.m. This constitutes the minutes of executive session.
Okay. So we need to re-enter an executive session because I screwed up how I worded the first going into executive session.
So we just
As informed by our district attorney that's here this evening. So we need to
just
make a motion on number 84.
Make a motion to enter into executive session.
I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second to move to executive session. Please call the roll. Oh, we need to read the statute?
For those agenda items.
Oh, read those 4 agenda items. The 1, 2, 3, and 4. Hold on, don't call the roll, please. You make that motion. Right.
Okay. So,
You
got
make the
it.
motion
Yep.
for 84, and then, if you're making the motion, and then read the items 1.
Yep, 1 through 4.
Yeah,
I got
those
it.
are.
All right, so I make a motion that we move into executive session to discuss and conduct confidential communications between the board and its attorney concerning an employment discrimination charge submitted by Oscar Brownfield. The board, having been advised by its attorney that disclosure will seriously impair the ability of the school district to process the pending claim in the public interest pursuant to Oklahoma Statute Title 25 307B4. Will also conduct confidential communications between the board and its attorney concerning an employment discrimination charge submitted by Lori Hill-Perrier. The board, having been advised by its attorney that disclosure will seriously impair the ability of the school district to process the pending claim in the public interest pursuant to Oklahoma Statute Title 25 307B4. Will also conduct confidential communications between the board and its attorney concerning a tort claim notice submitted on behalf of Lena Black. The board, having been advised by its attorney that disclosure will seriously impair the ability of the school district to conduct the process claim in the public interest pursuant to Oklahoma Statute Title 25 307B4. Lastly, we'll conduct confidential communications between the board and its attorney concerning a tort claim notice submitted on behalf of Arnold M. Mark Dreyer. The board, having been advised by its attorney that disclosure will seriously impair the ability of the school district to conduct the process claim in the public interest pursuant to Oklahoma Statute Title 25 307B4.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yeah.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Thank you.
I'm ready.
longest meeting in
A long time.
new world record.
Well, it's the longest one in a while, but it ain't the longest.
No, it's
I've been
not.
here for 8 hours.
I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Roulette.
Okay. Mr. Rainey, do I have to read all this again?
No.
Oh, thank you.
You just referenced the agenda items and the subparagraphs that the board met to go over those
Okay.
matters.
The Board of Education, Chuck Perry and Bo Rainey entered into executive session at 8:15 PM to conduct confidential communications between the Board of Education and the district's attorney in accordance with Oklahoma statute Title 25, Section 307B4 regarding the 4 points in the agenda. The Board of Education, Chuck Perry and Bo Rainey returned to open session at 9:16 PM. This constitutes the minutes of executive session.
Okay, next item will be number 86.
Make a motion to approve a new 3-year contract for Mr. Chuck Perry to serve as superintendent of Broken Arrow Public Schools.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item will be to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Congratulations, Mr. Perry.